Hi there, it's Lynda Sands. Welcome back to CRT Secret Sauce. This is the third episode in a series about the 6 major motivations that drive a person to consider using a charitable remainder trust. We're going to cover the triumvirate tax benefits of a CRT, and then we're going to talk a little bit about estate and gift tax and the avoidance of that. So let's launch into the triumvirate of tax benefits first. The major reason that people start to consider using a charitable remainder trust is that they can take highly appreciated assets and place them into the trust and not experience the capital gain on the transfer. There are some little rules where you can do it wrong, so you need to talk to an advisor about that. But for the most part, the capital gain tax is avoided, and the CRT holds the full principal, and therefore the asset base on which the income is produced stays intact. That's the first of the triumvirate of tax benefits. The second one is that once that asset or those assets are in the charitable remainder trust, the trust itself has a tax exemption unless it has unrelated business income tax, which should be avoided at all costs because the tax rate is confiscatory at 100%. So that trust can reinvest the proceeds and not pay any capital gains tax when it sells and reinvests. That's the second of the triumvirate. So we have the avoidance of gain, the tax exemption of the CRT, and the third thing is the deduction that a person gets for putting property or assets into the charitable remainder trust. Now, granted that deduction is a partial deduction, and it is often not the driver to set up a CRT. But that person may have had another asset sold and a gain in the same year, and that deduction can become very valuable. And the deduction, of course, is based on the amount of property, the donors, in their ages, how much income they're taking out of the trust, and a number of factors that we'll go over in another episode. But for now, just think about that we have that triumvirate of tax benefits to work with when we're discussing how to use a CRT with a client. The sixth motivation that we will be looking at is based on the estate and gift tax. When a donor or a couple, 2 donors, transfer into a charitable remainder trust and retain an income interest, there is no gift tax on that transfer. As to what goes to the charitable remainderman, there's a charitable deduction for that. The estate and gift tax aspects can also apply to a high net worth estate, where in fact they're going to have an estate tax, and this trust will remove the portion from their estate through the charitable deduction in the estate tax. Meanwhile, there's one other benefit that we need to look at with respect to between the initial spouse that dies and the survivor spouse. From one to another, there would be a marital transfer, but there is a special rule that a marital deduction applies in the charitable remainder trust that is different than in the general marital deduction. Generally, the marital deduction property is brought into the surviving spouse's estate, but not so in a charitable remainder trust. And I realize this is a very brief explanation of some of the benefits of the estate and gift tax. There's much more to that. That's the end of our 6 motivations that really help people take a serious look at using a charitable remainder trust. And there's one that I didn't cover, and that's going to be in another episode entirely, and that's a philanthropic motivation. So until then, I'm going to sign off here and ask you once again to run over to lindam.com, pick up your freebie. We'll see you over there, and we'll see you in the next set of episodes of the CRT Secret Sauce. Thank you.